Well, that's not finished yet, but it's 60-70% welded up. Well, good morning, YouTube. Two main pieces left here. These two front fenders. So I have to do them up. This one's got a few rust outs right here in the back, or the bottom of it. This area here is rusted out. It's got a pretty bad kink right there. The rest of it is fairly good. I worked on this fender once before. I fixed all this front area here where it was chewed up, welded it up. I never did get around to painting or finishing it. Welded that area right there. But anyway, this whole edge here basically has got to be fixed. For sure across the back and along that side there. And I've got a couple dents that needs to be knocked out of this one. This one's fairly okay. It was split in the front here. I welded it together. I kind of lost part of my seam, but I got it where it bolts in good, and I got I believe I fixed this part right in here. I didn't get it fixed real good, but at the worst it's going to be about the same as the other one. I may have to weld a plate on this one as well. As far as dents, there's really not much dents in it. So I have to get these welded up, dents knocked out of them, and primered. Then I can stick them on a car, and then really all I'll have left is that splash panel that goes along the side. So that's the goal today, is to get this thing welded up. Got a bit of a late start, had a bunch of stuff to do around the house, and dog got away, had to fix the gate. So I'll get started on these things and clean them up, rust converter them, get them welded. Probably if I can get this one in a shape for primer, I'll be doing pretty good. I started digging around in some of the tin I've had around here, and I found this piece. It's got a Chrysler emblem on it. I'm pretty sure that's where it goes. I don't know what this round thing is for here. It's got nothing in it. They cut this one out for some reason. It's pretty rusty. But I think that's what this is where this goes. And these are bent up. So I think it probably went on the inside. I've got jack stands on it right now, so I can't really put it on the inside. that's all I've got on it. It's this one piece of a lip. And this one had a kind of a rivet looking thing on it. Don't know what it is, but I was thinking of making a roll pan for it. And basically here's what I already made. Like I said, I don't know what that thing is there. There's really nothing behind it. It's just a hole. Well, it looks like it's got a bracket going down. Actually, I think this stuff is just bent. I think that bracket goes down. Okay. Let's see what's up on this thing. Yeah, I had it on right. Well, I bent those brackets down and it definitely looks like it fits. I don't know what this curb section is here. Might be for a bumper. But it's mostly there. I don't know whether I'll cut this piece off of here or try to make another one. I don't see any function to it, unless it's just a cover or something. There's two brackets here on the frame, or the pipe that goes across there, right where those things are. Maybe that was some kind of a tightening hole or something. It seems kind of stupid to make it that big, but anyway, you know, if that curve was the other way, the reason I say that it's that way, because this Chrysler's up right now. I think if I turn it around, that's actually kind of matching the curve of the bottom there. Anyway, and that Chrysler thing is upside down now, but I could turn it around. That makes more sense that it sets like that. I don't know what this cutout was for. Anyway, I think I'm going to try to save that. I'll get my jack stands out. See if I can put it up under there and kind of get it to, I don't know, that's on the inside of the frame there, and looks like I'm sticking out a couple inches over here. Don't know what the deal is. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this was part of the original car. So I think I'm going to try to save it and put it on there. Anyway, press on to those fenders. Well, I decided to use 18 gauge on this. I just happened to have a piece with a couple holes in it. The original guy had made for the radiator shell. I laid it on here and marked it out. I've got a piece of 1/8 inch there. This is real thin. I don't know, this is like 14 gauge. I don't know if it's 14 gauge or not, but before the rust got to it, it probably was. So I've got this basically cut out. This whole piece here is gone up to about where I got it cut there. That's good up there. And this bracket in here goes to right around this area, and that's good. Well, good enough. So what I'm going to do is try to cut this here, get this this piece here out of here. It shouldn't be too hard to do because it's all rusted out. And then I'll trim this piece up and get it welded in there, and then I'll try to make a little lip there to weld over and weld into the fender itself. I don't know how well it's going to work, but and I'm just hoping that this curve is going to be good enough for the splash panel. I haven't really got any big holes in there yet, so I think I'll be all right. And this doesn't really look too bent or anything, so we'll just try to get it on, and then we'll lay a splash panel on it and see how close we are. Well, I got my plate all rounded and ground off so it'll fit. The skin will pull down good on it, and I've got it flush to that original plate. So now I'm going to tack it here and on the outside, and then I'll flip it over, try to get it on the inside. And once that's on pretty good, then I'll figure out something to do with this bad edge here. Well, these two ends are welded up good. Still don't know what to do about this rusted piece here. If I try to cut it out and butt weld it, it's just going to burn through. This is just paper thin in here. It's not much better than this little piece right there. This up in here is pretty solid. It's got some meat on it anyway. I can grind that off. What I was thinking about doing, let me turn this over. I could pretty easily put a couple inch wide flat piece in there. Just bend something there all the way. Take it all the way back here to the back, weld it into this thing, all the way up into this part. Weld that real good on the inside, and then clean this up and weld it here. And then I could just cut this off right here, take, you know, 1.5 inches or so off of this, weld it into this plate. It'll be a thickness of sheet metal off, but it'll be real strong, and I can fill up, you know, something like that with bondo. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Get me about a 2.5 inch piece, clean this up, curve it, weld it in there. I probably have some laying around here that's fairly straight. Doesn't have to be real straight, just has to be long enough. Well, I got a piece cut out, and I've got it stuck up under that bracket there on the end, and got it matched pretty good. It's a straight cut there. Got it clamped down, so I'm going to weld it in here, and then I'll clamp it on the inside of the fender side, weld that, and I'll flip it over and cut most of it out. Well, that's not finished yet, but it's 60-70% welded up. I probably got a little hot, so I could quit welding on it. I'm going to flip it over now and see what it looks like on the other side. I should be able to see the weld coming through on the other side. Well, you can't see much on this side. You can see where it's welded here, and the little shiny spot right there is the metal is below it. This has still got a hump in it right there, but the plate I welded in is below it. This come down pretty easy. See, it's just rotten, coming down good. So I'm gonna cut it about 1/2 inch here where my weld is not, and try to get this whole plate and lip and everything out of there. I'm pretty sure I didn't weld a corner through into this rusty tin, but it's getting kind of late and dark. That old firewall out there that came with this car, boy, I sure cut a lot of pieces out of it. That's funny, you know, the piece that came with the car is the one that wound up saving the car in 100 little patches. Anyway, get this done, and I got some fiberglass reinforced bondo, so I'm gonna clean up all my wells and use that stuff on here, and that should help keeping it from rusting down the road. I'm gonna have to do the same thing here. Well, this one's not bad. There's a 1/2 inch plate under here. Really don't want to weld this down right now until I get it going to the running board, and at least put it up in there and see. I want to make sure this is all straight before I commit myself to a... Well, I got this old bad fender piece cut off, and I've got it clamped. I'm just going to weld it here on the outside now. Well, there's a plate all welded in. It's a lap welded with the corners welded on both sides. So I'll just grind this off, and I can fill this with a body filler and get a smooth line in it. I've got some semi-funky stuff in here. Got a big hole in the back here. I don't know if I'll just try to weld a plate inside there the same way I did this. Probably should, because this is where it bolts on. There was a seam right here. I tried to patch that, and all it did was burn a hole in it. I probably bend a little 90 and put in there and fix that. But we'll get this ground off, and I'll flip it over and see what I can do on the back side. Now there it is, covered with that bondo hair fiberglass stuff. I never did like this. It smells weird. It's kind of hard to put on, but it's really strong, and it does seal the metal pretty good, stop rust. This quick fill's good filler, but this will put a stronger layer on top of that single piece of metal that I welded in there, and I can rough sand it down and get it to the right shape, and then I can go ahead and fill it with regular filler. So I'll use this on bare metal stuff now. Anyway, it's a good product. I never had anything for more than 10 or 15 years. I don't know how good either one of them are. Somebody can probably tell you 20 years from now when they start working on it. Alright, I used that fiberglass stuff to reinforce this corner I'd welded before. And this one here I had welded. I didn't replace the whole plate. I just welded up a crack. And here's that plate I just put in a while ago. This stuff's pretty strong. So I wanted to get this one around the 10. The main bolts are these two big holes here. I gotta clean this whole fender up, rust converter it. Now this place right here, the tin's pretty bad in. I'm not even sure that there's any bolts go there. Three bolt holes back from this part. I think I'll probably just take it over there and set on it. Set it on the car. See if I have to do anything about this or not. It's gonna Should be cut out of there because it's two pieces of metal and the rust will get in it. I can flood it with a rust converter, but it'd be pretty easy to, you know, make another piece there and just, you know, cut that one out, grind it all off and weld another one in. And I've got to do something right here on the front of this fender. It's been split, and there's a little round rod that goes in there, so I have to fix that. I can probably do most of that from the back, and that way I can just bondo up the front of it. Take a wire wheel to all of this stuff, clean it up, and I can see my crack back in here. It looks like I can probably just weld that stuff through into that bracket, because that's 1/8 inch steel there. I'll pound that bracket out straight and see what it looks like. But basically, if I don't do something about that, this fender's kind of done. So we'll find out if I have to do something about that, and then we'll grind off this fiberglass on the outside, knock out some dents. I know I got some right here. Put it in the car and see what we got. Well, this sucks. I went over there to where I thought my splash panel was, and I got these two. Neither one of them fit. I think this is for the Dodge. But I started looking around in the Dodge, and underneath the tarp was this guy. And this is the right one. So I can just lay it on there now and see how the bolt holes are going to line up. But yeah, I gave myself a good scare with those two. I thought, oh man, I'll never be able to make one of these. Well, I could, but it's so much better to have one that's already made. I'll put it on and see what I can get it to look like. Well, like always, eat up a lot more time than I thought. I did get this front fender on, and it's where it has to go. Looks like to me it might be a little bit forward, but got like an inch off the radiator, so that's good. There's a brace under here, right about the middle of the fender. I'm gonna have to make a 1-inch bracket to bolt it on. Kind of see it there. I just clamped a 1-inch piece of pipe in it. I was worried about these places where you can see the bondo. I'm going to have to drill a frame and thread it, put some bolts in there. I've got the splash panel here pretty much where it needs to go. I had to cut about 1 inch of that out in order to get it past my motor mount. I've got it clamped down in there on a good hole. My fender was way too far forward or way too far back, one or the other. had it clamped on, but I had to unclamp it in order to move this fender up, or this splash pan up, so it would match the holes. So now I've got this thing sitting down over the fender braces. I don't know where this rear fender is going to be. Well, it looks like it's sticking out a good ½ inch or so. I don't know what I can do about that. I can bore more holes in it. But anyway, this fender is where it kind of has to be. I'll have to make some mounts for that. You see, it's pretty floppy. So now I can go ahead and put my floorboard back on here and see what that tells me. Now, I've been playing with this running board. I knocked 3 of the bolts off that were the studs because they didn't line up. But kind of moving around good now. I'm still about an inch low here. I've got this fender loose, but it's really not going to be going up and down unless I elongate those holes. I've got it matching pretty good up here in front. If I get it square, it's squaring up on the outside. But basically, I've got about ½ inch here, 3/4 of an inch, that this whole thing is too far forward. And I can't really move this fender back anymore because I've got big bolts holding it up in here, and I have to have this headlight bar straight. There's really no way of moving this thing. But what is left is this running board. It wouldn't be that big a deal to put a ½ inch piece in here. See, this is actually probably worked like it is, but I'm going to have to lift it up. I'm going to put some spacers under here and see how much it's going to take to get it up. Well, I've been playing around with bolts and spacers for an hour. I've got this thing clamped in here where it goes, or where it will go, and it's all straight. Here on the back, I've got 10½ inches, and in the front I got about 8. Over here on this side, I've got about 9½, and about 5½. So something still ain't right. I'm gonna raise this up. or have to. I did raise the side of this car up because it didn't look like it was perfectly level. I'm going to let it back down and measure it again. Well, we're going to measure it again. I had some things that weren't the same. On the other side, this wasn't up as high, so the whole fender was down. But here I got just a little under 8 inches. And right here in the back, I got 9.5. On this one, now I have 9.5. And this one is about 7. Now you can see that this is kind of flexy in there, and I've got some bondo that's stopping it from going in. So I probably need to raise this fender up a little, but they are matching now as far as height in the back. That is awful low, you know. So, and I don't know how well this is bolted into this pan here either. The other one's got a couple bolts in it, but I don't think I worked on this pan. Yeah, I got 1 bolt in it, 2 bolts. So the pan's bolted. I don't have the inch bracket put in here, and that's gonna kind of move everything around a little. So it looks like it's the same on both sides, more or less. Door sure closes good. But I need to fabricate the mounts for these fenders. They're good here in the front, straight across, or close enough. And I'll have to get some way of mounting that splash pan into the frame. I've got little brackets in it right now that they're not bolted in at all. Don't see them, but that'll be the kind of the next thing to measure this stuff. I'll probably measure from here down to the tin, set both sides the same, drill me a few holes in it, and see if I can screw it under the frame. It's not into this fender here. But this fender is now, I loosened it up, but it's where it's going to have to go, and the it's clamped to where it fits. I'll have to take and go in here, and well, you can really see a lot of dirt on the lens. That didn't help much. But this is where it has to go, and on this thing here, let me get up under here. You really can't see. Well, you can kind of see that this stuff is 1/2 inch. So I'll probably have to cut the back ones out, but I think I'm going to need about an inch bolt in there. I may weld another 3/8 piece or something on it, but it's all good. We'll check the angles real quick. It looks like this one's about 2 degrees or so. We'll check the other side.